Okay, I'm cool.
All right, let me introduce our next speaker. Jeff Davis is a world traveler, having spoken internationally to thousands of people in Europe and Asia. He's also spoken in Maryland, D.C., California, New York, Connecticut, and Massachusetts. As an author, Jeff conveys practical content mixed with inspiration to all kinds of audiences. Please help me welcoming Jeff Davis.
What do I speak about when I'm addressing and talking to nonprofits and corporations? A huge point that I bring up frequently in many of my keynotes is that action creates clarity. That's point one to nonprofits and corporations. Action will create the very clarity that you're looking for. Let's rewind the clock about 2.5 to 3 years. When I first entered into the speaking business, I was incredibly blessed and lucky to have had the opportunity to speak to a nonprofit organization based in East Hampton, Connecticut, a little over an hour north of where I grew up in Newtown, Connecticut. The owner of this nonprofit organization had a son who was diagnosed with autism. So she created this foundation, which ended up turning into an organization, to help children with autism and help their families. Before I speak, I do a lot of pre-programmed questionnaires, and I found out that their biggest problem was that they were endlessly planning, but they were never taking action. They had what I call whiteboard heroes. I don't mean that in a negative way at all whatsoever, but they were constantly talking what they will do, but they would never take the action that would give them the clarity they needed. They were all talented, passionate members, but they weren't funneling those talents in the way that was going to create the results they needed. When I spoke to their organization, I emphasized that taking action, talking to parents of children with autism, beta testing their services to see, okay, children are going to have various disorders along that spectrum of autism and Asperger's. How can we help them? How can we improve them? My thought, my insight, my strategies that I gave to them improved their bottom line results, and they thanked me for my keynote as well as our discussion that we had. What's another point that I would often bring up when I'm speaking to not only nonprofits but corporations? To absolutely sweat the small stuff. Now you might be thinking, wait a second, you just said 1 minute ago action creates clarity. Doesn't that imply to not sweat the small stuff? Here's the key distinction. I emphasize to businesses to sweat every single detail after you take action, after you get feedback from the market. So don't endlessly plan and overwhelm yourself, but put your services out there, get feedback, and then you can improve internal processes. Then you can have better customer service. Then you can adjust your programs to better suit the needs of your niche that you're speaking to. And that helps a lot. The third point that I will frequently bring up to nonprofits and corporations is to build a foundation. Raise your hand if you've ever heard of the Pareto principle before, the 80-20 rule. I don't entirely agree with it, but I don't entirely disagree with it. The 80-20 rule says to go after your top 20% of clients. But I have seen a number of times in my experience talking to people and companies, not only in the United States, but in Europe and Asia, that they'll go after those top 2 clients. But then one of those top clients will end up going out of business. And then another of those top clients will end up no longer wanting to be their client. Then they're gone, they're done. What I emphasize is to build a foundation of small to medium-sized clients. I'm a contrarian, but I also mix in some of the content that I learned from others in a way that makes sense to these organizations and gives them bottom-line results. People are so in love with the 80-20 rule that they end up becoming entirely dependent on these large organizations without having that foundation they need to succeed. I am all for going after the big client. My entire philosophy on life is about hitting the grand slam, but do it after you have the foundation. Let's take 55 to 60 seconds right now to write down on the piece of paper I handed out your 2 biggest challenges that you're facing right now in your business. Don't overthink it, whatever comes to mind, but what are your 2 biggest challenges in your business right now? I'll give you 50 seconds. You can just fill it out in the notes section, which it should be near the bottom of the sheet.
Say again what we're writing?
Just your 2 biggest challenges in your business. It could be time, it could be money, it could be a constraint you have, anything that comes to mind. All right, 10 seconds left. Just anything that comes to mind, just write down 1 or 2 of your biggest challenges in your business. Thank you very much for doing that. The reason why I wanted to give you a taste of that is because when I'm speaking to these nonprofits and corporations, I make it in such a way where we create win-win solutions and improve bottom line results. So when I'm going in there, it's about filling out those pre-programmed questionnaires, delivering my keynote to suit the needs of the audience, and then giving them practical, engaging, relevant insight that will improve their specific needs by engaging them in that process. I have about 4.5 minutes left. I really feel compelled to give you what are some of the top points that I speak about when I'm talking to and addressing college students, universities, and graduate schools around the world. Point 1 is to take control of your response. Now, I am not a mean person at all. If you've talked to me before, you know that I'm a very friendly person. But completely hypothetically speaking, let's say that I said a mean comment, and I said that mean comment to Jenny, and then I said that same mean comment to Chip, and then I went ahead and said it to Ann, and to Bill, and then to Valerie, and then to Beth, and Rick, and to Bill. I'm going to get a different response for each person that I say that mean comment to. It's not about what happens to you, it's about how you respond. I speak at the level of the students. I say, look, I'm no better than you guys. I've made mistakes. I have blood under my fingernails, figuratively speaking. I wish I had someone who had the guts to get up and speak to me when I was 17 or 18 or 19 or 20 in college and tell me, Jeff, it's not about what happens to you, it's how you respond. I learned it the hard way. Yes, life can be incredibly unfair. Yes, things happen to you that are not right. But if you spin it to your advantage by realizing you have control over 90% of the equation, how you respond, your entire life will change. Emotional intelligence is the foundation of success. That's the foundation I feel very passionate about giving to college students and letting them learn from my mistakes. What else do I share with them? It's not what you know, it's what you apply. You can have all the knowledge in the world. You could be the smartest person, you could be the expert designer or a guru of something, but if you don't apply what you know, it won't matter. That is the key. I'd rather take someone who applies 2 kernels and actually lives them, who then knows 20 kernels and doesn't live them at all. And then I'll also share how to be forward-thinking, how to trust your intuition and release the expectations of others. For example, I got my master's degree from Johns Hopkins. I finished a 2-year degree program in 1 year. That was while working for the government, while writing a book, and while traveling to countries around the world. And I had a lot going on, but I learned to manage my time. So I'll share that with college students. I'll share the time management tips. I'll share budgeting tips and how to not be afraid of money, to use it to your advantage. But I'll always share those tips on top of that foundation. To me, that is essential, because college students need to learn to manage their emotions appropriately. They're getting input and stimulus from all over. Where is there a class called Know Yourself? And there is nothing more important, I mean literally nothing more important than knowing yourself. The gifts that you have inside of you that are meant to be expressed with the entire world. I've been given an incredible gift, an incredible opportunity that does not come every day. I'm speaking face to face with some of the most successful entrepreneurs, not only in the Northeast, not only in the country, but in the world. I just had my lead web designer redesign my website. It's now mobile optimized. It has a more engaging blog. I'm getting out there more, I'm speaking, I'm growing. JeffDspeaks.com. How could you help me if you so desire? Where I could use a lot of help in terms of contacting colleges and universities. Yes, I'm getting out there and I'm speaking, spoke to the University of New Haven Graduate School, but it's very difficult to get in touch with the deans or the vice president of student services. If you happen to know one of them, perhaps you put them in touch with me. Or, if you know a business owner who wants a dynamic, engaging speaker who will not only give them insight, but bottom line results, tell them to contact me. And if you don't know anyone, that's perfectly fine, and you ever just want to talk, or you ever need a helping hand, I know how to listen. I would love to help you as well, so it goes both ways, of course. I definitely appreciate all of your time. I hope you picked up some tips, how I talked about those corporations and nonprofits. Action creates clarity. Sweat the small stuff and build that foundation. And then we perfectly transitioned over into what I speak about to colleges and universities that I feel so passionately about. To take control of your own response and to have that emotional intelligence that will be the foundation for your success when you fill in the skills of time management and customer service and budgeting and success. Have a wonderful day. I appreciate your time, and as always, you reach the mountaintop by being your quintessential self, because everyone else is already taken.
Wow, Jeff, I'm impressed. Nice, very nice, very nice. All right, we'll go back to being MC.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
Soon we'll see them on New Year's Eve.
Oh, no. What's that?
Soon we'll see them on New Year's Eve.
Oh.
No.
Somebody just said no.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you for listening to our spotlight speakers today. We are now transitioning to the next portion of our meeting, which is
And
the...
Jeff, also just a reminder, if you have comments for Jeff or Catherine, jot them on the notes and just fold them and give them to them at the conclusion of today's meeting. They're sure it'll be helpful.
Thank you, Bill. The raffle and sales table. We have a raffle. We have a lot of awesome items that can definitely enrich your life. I will turn this over to Valerie to run our raffle.
So everything, we got some interesting stuff up here this week, so
Jeff.
I don't know exactly, who provided this? Jeannie, of course.
Nice job, buddy.
Thank you.
I should have you come talk to my son when we get to the college.
Lovely.
Yeah, thank you.